Hello and welcome to my Innovation Story podcast, where you get exclusive insights into the journeys of amazing innovators across the African continent. I'm your host, Femi Aoni, and today we have a great guest. Her name is Dami Teidi. Now, for those who may not know, Dami is a seasoned innovation expert. She's an ecosystem builder with over a decade of experience around the African innovation landscape. And she's currently the head of platforms and networks at Ventures Platform, one of the leading VC firms in Africa. Dami, it's a pleasure to have you join us.
Hi, Femi. Good to be here.
Awesome. So we're very interested in understanding Dami's story. We want to know how she got to where she is today. So some of the things that we want to know are everything around what got you interested in the tech and innovation landscape.
Okay.
So we want to wind the clock back to baby Dami. Could you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Okay.
And just any early moments in your life that sparked an interest in tech and innovation?
Okay, sure. Short story is I stumbled into tech.
Awesome.
Long story is I think the earliest memory of using a computer was playing with it. You know, when you watch like all these movies and like they've been sent on a mission, like all these action movies, they've been sent on a mission and then they're on this laptop and it's a black screen and they're typing things. I used to think that it was the command prompt on like the desktop. So I would use the computer and type things and be expecting something back. But at that point, I didn't think I wanted to do anything with tech or innovation. Actually, I wanted to be a doctor and then a musician.
Okay.
Yeah. But that didn't quite work out because the music thing was what I was going to eventually go to. The doctor thing was, of course, in an African home, you have three options. Either a doctor, you're an engineer, you're a lawyer. Yep. And I was closer to the doctor side. So that was the initial plan. But what then happened was I was trying to get into university. I didn't get into OAU post-JAM. So passed the JAM, but post-JAM, that didn't go well. And my mom had already planned that if I didn't pass that, her own goal was that we all studied abroad. That's what she wanted to work towards. But I was for some reason, I just wanted to study in Nigeria. I think, like when you watch Nollywood movies, you see the university lifestyle, you're like, okay, that seems cool. Like, that seems very adult. So, my dad and I was like, okay, let's get to OAU Fair. When that didn't work out, my mom was like, okay, you guys have done your bits. Now let's come back to my own plan. And she, like one thing led to another. She had a friend in Cyprus, a school in Cyprus.
Okay.
Who then guided me. I didn't need much, just my WAEC results, which was good, and then pay your fees. And, I was already on my way to Cyprus. And this is the Turkish side of Cyprus, so the northern side of Cyprus. Okay. Unfortunately or fortunately, I got in for an engineering course. I think when I was trying to apply, I was like, okay, let me do animation. Then I can use the animation to do my music videos so that everything will still connect. Yeah. But when I received the admission, it was for electrical and electronics engineering. And I was like, what is like, I've not even heard of this before. What is this? I'm not interested. And then my mom, I think on her way to Abuja or back to Lagos, she met someone on the plane who is an electrical and electronics engineer. She's a lady, Mrs. Lola Mao. And I think at the time, she had told my mom that there are only like 5 or 6 in the whole country. So that day, my mom came back. There are only 5. You're going to be number 6. You're going to be number 6. You're going to study engineering. I was like, who is this person? She actually, Miss Samawo then was going to do like a summit or something. So she said I should go, I should speak to her, I should be inspired. So I did go. I met Miss Samawo. She did inspire me. The hall was full. So I was like, who is this woman? And I was like, okay, I would do this engineering. Let's just go and see. But then I went to school. I resumed. And remember, I'm in that school because my mom's friend's daughter is there. Yeah. So I met the lady and I was like, oh, this is what they gave me. She was like, engineering, there are no women in that class. Only men. You can't survive. I think you should change it. Me, I'm doing information technology.
Mm.
You can do that. It's very simple, very easy. So, I wanted to be a musician. This was just a means to an end.
Fair enough.
So I was like, I don't want to stress myself. The goal was not to stress myself. Let me do technology. So I think this is one of the rarest times where your parents actually want you to do like, a girl should go into engineering, but then something else still pushes you away. So I end up doing IT. My mom wasn't too bothered about it. She was like, okay, still computer, so it's fine. Is this what you want to do? I said, yes. Luckily, because it was a cheaper course, I got refunded some money. So that made everything, they refunded. Okay, this is good. It's good. They refunded you some money. So, there's a win everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's exactly how I landed in technology. And I just started on the journey. My first year, I was so confused. I remember going to the library and just being like, hey, God, I did not come this far to fail. I don't know anything they're teaching. So I took like a couple of books. I still remember I had like the books in my bag and I went to and I stayed in the library and I was reading. Then I borrowed some books, went back to my dorm and I was reading until I understood the fundamentals of programming.
Okay.
I did not stop reading for that first period. And look, my dad had told me that, even if it's a tough subject, I need to make sure I do well in the first year, that it gets harder. And so your CGPA starts to be affected. So if you get a strong first year, even if you're affected in your second year when it gets harder, you still be stable. So that was like the plan. And I didn't want to disappoint my dad or my mom. So yeah, and that's how once I got it, honestly, it was right. I just sailed through from there. As soon as you get the fundamentals of programming, it actually just helps throughout. And yeah, that's how I got into that's how I got it here.
That's amazing. I like the fact that you actually dedicated time to understand the basics before at least exploring any other things.
I know. I didn't want to fail. That was the motivation.
Fundamentally,
honestly, as in, that was it.
So you've now gone through university in Cyprus.
Yes.
And after Cyprus, what came next?
I worked for a bit. So I then, the whole NYC thing, I got a job with a company called SocketWorks. We were building portals for universities. So I was writing code in PHP. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was actually a software engineer. But at some point, we started hearing it was first Deal Day. I
remember Deal Day.
Yeah. I was like, what kind of idea is this? The website was launched. I was like, wow, so somebody is going to start this and we're all going to start using it. So I'll be the one in the office to say, I've seen this tech idea, Deal Day, this is what they do. I will push it. Like I didn't know any of the staff members from Adam. After that, it was Paga, then Konga. Okay. Yeah. So I was just like, what is happening? Like, this is really cool because I was in an organization that was just building the portals for, institutions. So it just felt like at that point, that was the only tech I knew. Okay. Like, you build stuff and then you give it to whoever has contracted you to build. But this was new. It was like, okay, this person is building it. It's for everybody.
Everyone to use it.
What does that mean? How does that work? So I would then be the one to bring it to the office and talk about it a lot. So when the opportunity came for me to do my master's, this was after, I think, 2 years of working at this organization. I was going to do, if it was after 1 year, I was going to do computer science for my master's. But by the time I had done 2 years and all these things were happening, I was like, okay, what's the entrepreneurship course I can do? I landed on strategy and innovation at the University of Southampton. Partly because I got a scholarship. Maybe not partly, fully because I got a scholarship. I had a list of universities I applied and then they responded that, because of my undergrad, which I had a first class in my undergrad, they were going to give me a couple of £1,000 off. Okay. And at that time, that just made a huge difference, honestly. By the time I called my dad and my mom, they were like, my mom was like, I knew it. God was saying it's University of Southampton. I said, when exactly?
Did he tell you?
That you didn't tell me until they gave us this scholarship. So anyways, that's how I landed in University of Southampton, which was a really, really great choice. really just set me off. It was a good choice to make on the back of, being a software engineer, because I had the basics and understanding of tech. I had worked a bit on it and actually did stuff. So even in school then, it was very like I could get a lot of things. And then I had made a decision as well to work while I was in school, but to really do like IT related work. So the first place I worked was as a market researcher with a company that was looking into a new idea in the UK. So that gave me all that research. What do you look out for and all that? Then the second place I worked at was at the university, and they were looking for like someone to support on their testing. So they were building a new portal and to run this user testing and all this unit testing and stuff. So it was that was also a good learning experience, because if you think about the development of a solution, you think about market research, you think about the actual coding of it, but you also think about testing and getting user feedback. So I was very intentional about adding to the experience that I had, so that when I got out of university, like I immediately have like a job, or like I'm not just saying I have a master's, but I have a master's and I have this wealth of experience. It was tough, but it's like that was my focus, that I get the job experience, but I also get this master's degree.
Both at the same time.
And I did, and I got it.
Honestly, that's amazing. Actually, something came to my mind. The move from Nigeria, then Cyprus, and then the UK. Was there a culture shock there?
Good. No, I don't remember. If there was, I couldn't remember anymore.
Not major.
For Cyprus, I just remember, I don't know if things have changed, but it's such a small city. Remember, Cyprus divided into two. It's the north and the south. That they don't actually mix. So if you go to the north, you're going to the Turkish side. If you go to the south, that's what everybody knows as Cyprus, the Greek side.
Okay.
So when I went there, it was a really small town. I was like, this place and Abuja, they are the same. It was so small.
Fair enough.
But the university was really big. It was different. Going to school was so easy. You could arrange your timetable. You could decide that you don't want morning classes. You want afternoon classes. It was so easy. We were a lot of Nigerians that came, and a lot of us were doing well. Like best graduating students, carrying out the first class. Because for a number of people that even came from Nigerian universities, there was no reason for you to fail. It was just easy breezy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, everything was like, I remember some of my friends be like packed, rooms back at home, like in class, packed classes, but there, very, like, it was almost not empty, but like there was so much space. You could learn, you could reach out to your lecturers. So a lot of Nigerians ended up doing really, really well. So I don't think I faced a lot of culture shock, because there were just quite a number of Nigerians that came when I came. And so we just bonded with each other. For Southampton, no, I think, again, when you land, you find one or two Nigerians. I was lucky, though. So I'd met someone 2 days before. I was traveling to Southampton. I was a model at the time. She was the makeup artist for the shoot. And this was like going to be my last shoot before I go to uni. So it was, I think, 2 to 3 days before we traveled. And then when I landed at the registration point in school, I saw her. And I was like, so I just immediately had a friend from the beginning.
That's fair.
But yeah, I don't remember any major shocks. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. You mentioned modeling. Can you tell us a little bit about that part of your life?
Yeah. No, I started modeling from my undergrad in Cyprus, actually, at some point. And then when I came back to Nigeria, I just continued. I did like the Arise Fashion Week shows, Lagos Fashion Week at the time, Music Meets Runway, worked with quite a number of designers, Bridget Awoshika, Lanre Da Silva, like all of them. So it was a good time. It was a really good time. Did a couple of commercial ads as well. So BRTs and co. But yeah.
Okay.
But then when I moved to CC Hub, it was a smaller team and I had a lot of work to do. I was working just directly with my boss, so it didn't give room. I tried to do like a runway show and I couldn't attend any of the fittings, so I just realized, this is not going to work anymore. And at the time, modeling was not paying as much. So I was like, well, Dami,
let's pick.
Follow the money. You love both, so passion is not the problem, but just follow the money now.
I like that.
So yeah.
Okay. So then you had started your CC Hub journey at this time.
Yes, when I come.
Could you tell us how you got started at CC Hub, and then just how your life went on from there, from an innovation standpoint?
So, I mean, from when I was rounding up my master's, I started applying to places, and I was still caught on what was happening in Nigeria. So I had a few places. It was Paga, Konga, or CC Hub. Those were the places when I was working. They were always doing, CC Hub would always do like a hackathon. I was like, I want to go, but I'm working. I can't go. So I'll follow online. Same with Konga, and, then was Sim and Tayo. But when I checked, only one person was hiring, CC Hub. So I was like, oh, girl, I'll try that. And I think that's why I said the course I picked was really good, because for CC Hub, there were not many people then that had done software engineering, then combined that with innovation management. So it was just perfect. They were looking for someone to support the lead with the startups then that were coming from the idea stage. And remember, I had done market research experience, I had done user testing experience, I actually had software engineering background. So it was like, it was just a fit. Yeah. So I spoke with all of the partners at the time, Bosso, Femi, Tunji then, and I got the job. So as soon as I did, I told them I was in the UK, but I will come back. And then I resumed at CC Hub, and it was a dream job for me. Spent about 6 months then working with a couple of startups. And then at some point, one of the startups we were working with called Jekalo, launched. I still remember, I think Bosun came to the office then. I was like, there was fuel scarcity, and it was like, you guys have been working on this Jekalo for some time, which was share a ride with someone, like Jekalo, let's go. If you're going my way, let's go together. I'm the driver, I own the car. I'll just take you and you give me something small for fuel. Okay. It's like, this is the perfect time to make noise about, let's just launch. So I actually wrote the first tweets that we were live, and people were talking about it. And that led to the folks that were building Go My Way. So a couple of people were building Go My Way, and they were like, oh, wow, so these people have launched. Can we reach out to CC Hub to see if there is a way to merge? It's a new idea. Perhaps they were building out a full-on platform, which we were doing at the time. But you remember that day Bosun came in, I was like, this is the perfect time. Just, what did we used to say then? Is it launch fast or break or something? Fail fast. So
fail fast and fail forward.
Yes, like you've been cooking the soup, let's just go with it and go from there. So they were still building it out, and it was just like, okay, we can, merge together. The idea was that I wasn't in picture then. It was just meant to be like a merger acquisition. But the guy that was running Jekalo at the time was more tech focused. And so CC Hub was like, well, we're interested in putting our money here. It was Sim that had reached out. So Sim Shagaya was also like, I'm interested in this. Like, I'm the one building this, so definitely my money is in. CC Hub, of course, was interested because, Sim was like the founder of all founders at the time. Was Sim, Jason, Tayo of Yusu. So it made sense and then there was another investor as well that put in money. But then CC Hub was like, well, the current founder of Jekalo is quite technical. Okay. Why don't you get Dami, who's been working with him, to just help with the launch, the actual operations and execution side. It was very new to me. Like, even when they told me, I was like, no, I still want to support startups. Like, that's what I came to do. Like now I've shown you my whole background. Like, that's what was interesting to me, not actually running the thing, but just... And I was like, no. And then I remember Tunji said to me, he was like, well, if you really love supporting startups, at least, perhaps there's something to learn from actually trying to run one that has a lot of money behind it. Prior to this, I had run a company called Style Junkie with a couple of friends, but it was just us building our idea, no external investment. So this one there was external investment. So Tunji was just like, just see how if you don't like it in 6 months, come back. That's how I spent like 2 years on Go My Way. I launched it. That was when I realized that, okay, Dami, you don't like to leave things until you're satisfied that you've put in all your energy. So I launched it. Unfortunately, there was no merger that happened. The founder that was running Jekalo didn't really agree to a lot of the terms for his own reasons. Okay. And so I just was stuck with it. And at this point, it just felt weird to leave because then who will run it? I had launched it. So let's just continue. So that's how I did Go My Way for 2 years, I think 2+ years. Because I did it for July 2015, I think, to September of 2017. So about 2+ years. And unfortunately, then had to shut it down. We had run out of money. we had, at the time, the owners of the company had the idea that it was those days where, you grow your user base, then money can come later. You have a large user base, then maybe somebody might come and acquire you, or money will come later. I wasn't, because it was so new to me, I wasn't too involved I hadn't raised money before, so I didn't even know how that looked like. And I was actually dependent on the owners like Sim and Co to maybe find more money. Mainly Sim, because he had more of the idea actually. And so that did not pan out. I think there were other things that came up, and I mean, we had grown the user base and grown the rights, but we hadn't grown the revenue. And I think things were going to that point where revenue started becoming important. So it was like, you haven't been making money. I had actually pushed towards the end that we should make money. So we had gotten a corporate deal, and I had pushed that we do that deal. So basically white label the solution for a corporate organization. So we got the money for that, but it wasn't enough. So I remember September, I was just like, I had to shut it. They told me that they didn't want to put any more money. They didn't want to raise any more money. I didn't know how to raise any more money at the time. And to be honest, I was very tired. Entrepreneurship is not easy. I was so tired. And I was like, I can't continue. If you don't want to put more money in it, then I'll just bow out at this point. So I put down a message, sent an email to all of our users. We had about 10,000 to 12,000 signed up at the time. And I remember receiving so many messages back from, I told you guys to charge now. Why didn't you people charge? We would have paid money. What kind of investment do you need?
It's from users.
Yeah, from users. What kind of people love the solution, because you had the comfort of a car, but you were paying what? Like Lagos to Ibadan, 750 naira. Because the person was going to Ibadan anyways. So a couple of my team members would join some of these rides to Ibadan because they were going there, and each person, like 4 people in car, paying 750. They would tell me the driver will even stop, buy food stuff, buy bread for his family. And, it was just enough. So if he wasn't using it for fuel, he was using it for gifts for his family. So people liked it. And for people that used to do sole a lot, like the drivers, this was a lot safer. So they understood it. Yeah, so we got lots of people, even one other company, like an ecosystem person tried to buy it, but it just didn't pan out. And so I shut it down. I remember I was so afraid. My mom was like, are we going to get any job again? They'll say, hey, you're the one that failed at this. And I was really, really afraid that I wouldn't. But by the next day, people were calling me for interviews and saying, oh, join. Yeah, because that was when I realized, even as a founder, because of that experience, you have so much knowledge that can be useful to someone else. So it's actually like, if your founder leaves something, they usually, what that taught me is I usually get something almost immediately. So yeah, and then I worked with Paystack for like 2 months. Okay. So I got into Paystack, I think, was it October? Also, yeah, I think October. But I left by the end of the year because really great place to work, even at the time. I know a lot of people talk about how people don't leave Paystack. I was like, even in 2017, it was a really great place to work. But it wasn't my passion. So CC Hub came back and said, well, we have an opening for our startup supports department or units. Do you want to lead that? And I was like, this detour that I've taken, that's what I want to do now. Let's just go back there. So yeah, started off with CC Hub in 2018 of January, and I was there for about 4+ years. Doing lots and lots and lots of programs. First started off with doing our incubation program and selecting some startups for investments, but then slowly moved to just implementing programs, designing programs, and did that for a couple, for the 4+ years, and then left in, I think, July or August of 2022 to join where I am today, Ventures Platform. And yeah, what I do at Ventures Platform is kind of everything that I've learned, but doing it for our portfolio companies. So bringing that extra value for them, networks, creating sort of like expert pools and networks for them, leveraging some of the experience and even networks that I have in case someone needed like an intro or something. But most importantly, it's about like building systems that are very scalable. So if you have like because I built programs, I sort of have that program mindset to say, okay, we can do it this way and it will be one-on-one, but we have like what, 70 something active companies we've invested in over 90. So that's not scalable. What I'm coming here to do is to say, how can this run in a way that it's almost plug and play for some things and it's almost like programmatic for some things and it runs very smoothly. So besides bringing all that value is how, on what system, what technology tool, what programmatic approach do we use to make sure it's scalable? And I've been there for nearly 2 years now, trying to calculate when.
Wow.
I think it will almost be, I think I'm getting to my year 2 soon,
year 2.
actually. Yeah. And that's it.
Damn, you've done a lot. you've lived.
Yeah, I have.
I mean, there's so many things to touch on. First of all, the Go My Way experience, the fact that you actually got your hands in the mix to be a founder, or to be a CEO at the time. Because there's many things around running a company and being a founder that a lot of people on the outside just don't see.
Yep.
Especially as a CEO, you realize that you're wearing many hats.
Yep.
So one day you're the actual tester.
Yeah, chief everything officer.
Everything. Yeah, literally.
That's it.
Literally. But then we went back to CC Hub. You actually went to Paystack first and then CC Hub. And CC Hub rose through the ranks until you were director of startup support.
Yes.
Until now, working
And
with
I'm
Ventures
working
platform.
Ventures platform.
So I read somewhere that you've led over 25 startup initiatives and supported over 200
Yes.
200 startups in your time.
Yeah.
That is just a lot
Yeah,
of activity you've done in the ecosystem.
Yes.
So my question is, what would you say is one success story that you can point to through the years? And what would you say is one, I'll say, big problem that you experienced that left a mark on you?
When you put it that way. Okay. So let me see. This is work, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say like one achievement. I mean, I've done so many.
Yeah, you have.
I've done so many things. I've led the launch of innovation hubs in Nairobi, in Ibadan, and before I left, one in Abuja. This is within universities, which in itself was just giving students the opportunity to build something and come up with ideas. That in itself is just a big achievement. There's some massive projects, but I will just pick a recent one, which is a founders retreat that we do at Ventures Platform. I think for me, it was when I was about to join. That was literally like Kola, who is the founding partner, was saying that he's always had the desire to bring our founders together and just relax and enjoy. And I think around the same time as I was prepping to start working there, I was thinking of the same thing. And I was like, I had done like a mindfulness workshop in the past. So I was like, if I could bring everyone together and do something around mindfulness. So that day when he had the call and he told me, I was like, I have an idea. This is the theme. In fact, I have the theme. And it was like, oh, interesting. So, and being able to pull that together and do the first one, it was focused. It was mindful leadership. That's what we call the theme, mindful leadership. We brought in someone who could facilitate a mindfulness. It's called Search Inside Yourself workshop. From a leadership point of view, so many tools that you can use to be like a mindful leader and be the best leader you can be, and also like extend that to your employees. So we pulled in about 50 people from about 33 companies came in, flew in, like we didn't pay for the flights or anything. So they flew in. Of course, accommodation and food was free. But like everyone, by the time they were done, I don't even think before then I had seen any other founders retreats on the continent at like 2.5 days. I don't think so. So I dare say we're the first to do it. And I remember planning for it. I was looking and saw a few outside and just took bits and pieces here to see what would actually work. But at the end of the day, all our founders were like, oh, this was very refreshing. People were able to meet each other and share ideas with each other. And we've done 2 now. So that was the first one. We've done 1 this year. And then we're planning for the next one as well. So I'll say for me, it was pulling that off, especially as I just joined the company, the trust that they had given me to run it, because I came in September, August, and the first one was going to be in January. So really just being able to pull that off with the team was just amazing. So that's one that I would share. Although if you give me time, there are tons that I can share. On the flip side, the challenge that left a mark on me. When you work with startups, though, you see quite a number of things that leave a mark on you. But okay, so at CC Hub, we did something called Pitch Drive. We did it first for Europe. I wasn't involved in that. When we wanted to do it again, we were going to focus on Asia.
Oh, okay.
So decided that we would take, I don't remember now whether it was 10 or 12 startups across Asia. At that time, then at CC Hub, you get a lot of people coming in and saying they're exploring. So we did get a sense that there were lots more Chinese, Japanese coming in and saying they're exploring. And then people were looking into doing hardware stuff, AI, all those things were coming up. So we're just thinking, it makes sense to go to Asia. It's like there's some interest there from what we've gathered throughout the year. Why don't we make Pitch Drive in Asia and then focus on this advanced tech and hardware, founders. So that's what we then focused on. And we decided, okay, we're going to do Singapore, then Japan, then China, then Hong Kong. I think there was supposed to be 5. Singapore, Japan, South Korea, China, then Hong Kong.
Okay.
And I should have maybe gotten a travel agency to do this, but decided that almighty Dami can run it herself. It was such a big challenge, being able to ensure everyone had their visas. And it was just 12. Okay, so it was about 10 to 12 founders, and then you had the CC Hub team. Then we took the Tech Cabal, a few of the Tech Cabal team members, the crew, to do capture coverage and all that.
Yes.
So it's quite a large number. We're managing the visas, managing tickets. And that was when I knew that, this is Nigerian passports. Even amongst other African passports, it was a struggle. Yeah. It was like, I can spend a whole day telling you how ridiculous it was. It was such a struggle. We had people from Ivory Coast, no issues. We had people from Tunisia, from Morocco, no issues. Rwanda, Uganda. Getting visas for them was no stress. Just give me the invitation letter. Just get for Nigeria. In fact, for one of the countries, I won't say any names. For one of the countries, they had to ask our partner in their country to DHL the original invitation letters, their original certifications to show that they actually. And this was a big company. Just don't want to say the name. A big company had to do. But when we called, they were like, they don't do that. But I was like, there's no way the Nigerians can make it if you don't do this for us. All the other countries had their visas. All the other founders from the different countries that I can mention had all their visas. It was just Nigerians. And we didn't get that visa.
You still didn't get it?
We didn't get it. We didn't get it. I was still at the embassy on the day we were meant to travel, still seeing if I was trying to hook up with different people to see if I could get them to understand that we are legit. This is who we are. We're coming and we'll come back. By the time it was what time, I was like, see guys, let's just forget about this country. Nigerians ended up going to only Singapore because it's e-visa, so it was pretty straightforward. Japan, because we were working with the Japanese External Trade Organization. Luckily, I got them as partners. And then we were able to go to, if I would have only gone to those 2, we were not able to go to China. China was it was the weirdest.
Really?
Yeah, it was just odd. They wanted us to send the original CAC certification all the way to China. None of the other countries had to do that. And we wrote the invitation letters for those countries. So ideally, if you gave them the visas based on our invitation letter, why do we need extra proof?
Yeah.
So we didn't go to China. We didn't go to South Korea. We almost didn't go to Hong Kong. Almost. We received our Hong Kong visas in Japan. I actually went to the DHL office to pick up the stickers. It came directly from Hong Kong because I had to find someone in Hong Kong. I was looking frantically for startup sort of communities and innovation leaders in some of these countries where I now realized that the corporate partners we had wasn't enough. I had to look for, so once they told me, hey, we can help you get the visas, but they had told us to cancel the application in Nigeria. That morning, I remember calling because like I think 9 a.m. or something in Nigeria will be closing time in Hong Kong. So I was like, please, can you cancel it?
My
We need to get it. As soon as I canceled it, they shipped out our visas. I went to DHL office in Japan, and this is outskirts, so I couldn't even speak Japanese. At some point, I was lost. Got all the stickers, met the rest of the Nigerians at the bus station for us to run to the airport, and we put our stickers ourselves on the passports. And we went. That was how we went. All the other countries, those ones were cruising in a car from China to Hong Kong. You know, it's not that. It's not this. You can actually go by a car. Very easy. No cruising, no issues. Me, I was running to DHL office in Yokohama. Not even in Tokyo. I was like, oh my God. Got lost. Had to call a friend to speak Japanese so that they would know what they are giving me. Have you ever heard of someone stick their own visa by themselves? Stick it by themselves on the passport. Oh my God. That was how we were able to go to 3 countries. If not, we would have done all that trip as even a Nigerian company leading on that trip, and only 2 countries would have gone to. So, I mean, that was super challenging for me. If we ever did it again, I was going to say we are definitely getting a travel agency. But it also was eye-opening because I realized, I thought every one of us on the African continent suffered from this passport thing. Yeah. But apparently, we suffer more than a lot of people. That was the first thing. And it was just that realization. I was like, this is so bad. But the flip side of it was that it was actually a good trip at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay, so still at least worth.
No, at least it was worth it. One of the biggest things. And also I realized, have good relationships with all of these organizations that are sort of like diplomats, because they can, if you have them on board, then they're supporting your project. It's very easy for them to add that sort of like validation that, okay, these guys are going to go there and they're going to come back, which is how we were able to go to Japan. And we all came back. Nobody.
Wow.
We all came back.
That is it's just so long.
Yeah, it was so challenging. So sometimes when I see all these conversations about passports and all of that, I'm just like, guys, you have no idea. You think it's all the African countries that are suffering it. I don't know about now. This was in 2017. Where was this? 2019? Was it not 2019? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know about now, but at the time, exactly. I mean, if you compare at the time, like my friend in Ghana was talking about how she could go to Thailand or all these places. I was like, you don't want to try with that. She's like, oh, Dami, come along when you. I'm like, sis, you can't come along.
No impromptu trips.
Nothing. We don't do that here. We have to give leeway. We probably need EFCC reports. You have to do this. You need all of that. So don't play. So I would say that's one of the most challenging things. But it was a very rich experience for me. I really even though I was stressed out and tired most of the trip, just getting to the end of it and knowing everyone enjoyed themselves, and that I think that Hong Kong thing was just the highlight. I was like, Dami, where have you pasted your own? No.
I've never heard of that.
No, even the guy I called in the Chinese embassy in Nigeria was like, what do you mean you're getting? I said, don't worry about what I mean. Just cancel it there. Let me
do it myself.
You don't have to. So, we won't refund you. I said, don't worry, my brother. Cancel it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so hectic. So, during my time ago, leading the Black Founders Fund, we're doing a closeout event in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And we had 25 founders that we were flying with. About 10 of them were Nigerian. All the founders from Africa, all the 25, all of them made it apart from 5, and all 5 were Nigerians.
Of course. Yeah.
Solely because of visa issues. So believe me, I understand exactly where you're coming from. But I mean, first of all, thank you for sharing, because I can see how, a sense of pride that you have with the success stories, but also the evident challenges that you have having a Nigerian passport. So there's a question I want to transition to. It's a question we actually ask all our guests. It's, what has been the most pivotal moments of your innovation story so far?
It would be Go My Way, for sure. I don't know. Running a business is tough. Yeah. I don't know how people do it. It's not easy. I have so much respect for founders, because for me, I had run something before. I mean, Style Junkie, like I said, but it was just a couple of us. But running Go My Way was on a bigger scale. Had to announce it. There were times, and this was a new platform. It was like, okay, we are ride sharing. Are you a taxi driver? No, I'm not. Which one are you doing again? Is this so? I say, okay, it's Sole, but it's advanced Sole. Like, I remember changing our flyers like multiple times because we would do one flyer, be like, okay, I get it now. So you're a taxi driver. I'm like, what about this flyer says we're a taxi driver? So we had to like keep modifying our flyers to get to the point where, okay, when we were sharing it, you would know. And then just coming up with like different strategies of how to acquire users.
Okay.
I realized was also tough. So, before this, I was with Go My Way supporting, so I was with CC Hub supporting startups. And then when I got to Go My Way, I was like, all those things that I was telling startups to do, you sure they even made any sense? I mean, some of them would, but it must have been so distracting. Like there were some things I was thinking about that if you ask me as a founder to do that, that would just be really distracting for me. Like, why did I think anybody would want to be doing these things when they're trying to run their business? So it was so eye-opening for me that because even me, because I did go my way out of the CC Hub office. So I became a startup. And then, when people ask for things, I'll just be like, guy, it's not easy running this company. You have to calm down from these things you were asking me for. Like you have to just hold on. I will get it to you, or I will attend this session, or attend like even sessions that were beneficial. You're so consumed by what you're trying to build that nothing else, for something else to matter, is a big deal. That's why even when we're able to get for the founders retreat 50 founders to attend, for me it was a big deal because I know how hard it is to say, I'm not going to think about my business for 2 days, even for half a day. And I'm here listening. What are you telling me that is so important? So very pivotal moment for me because I learned exactly what Tunji had told me, my boss then, that, Abi, you want to support startups? Go and see how it is on this level. And then you understand exactly what he said was what ended up happening because it changed my perspective on a lot of things. How do startups really work? How do entrepreneurs think? What's actually the role of startup support? Sometimes half of the time might be you just listening to someone rant, whereas the other time is actually getting the right value and, making sure that whatever you're offering is worth my time. If you're offering me mentorship or experts or whatever, it is worth me leaving a bit of my startup founder work and saying, okay, let me reach out to these experts, right? Because being a founder is really tough. Like I remember like I'll wake up and I'll be tired because I've been working in my sleep.
Thinking of problems.
I'm just like, and then another thing I realized is that people will tell you lots of things to do. Yeah. And then I remember one day I was so upset. I went to a place, I think I was going to them for partnership, and then they started to tell me all the things I should do with my Go My Way app. I should do this, I should do this. I was not, at some point I was like, wait, how many people have used Go My Way here? They're like, no, we've not really. And I said, please don't tell me anything. Don't. It's okay. I'm going. Because if you've not used my platform, what as in almost half of the things you were saying, I have it. You use it first and then tell me what is missing. But you can't tell, I sleep, eat and drink this. I'm tired when I wake up. So you can't really be telling me like you're coming up with new stuff. No, you only heard about me like 30 minutes ago and you didn't even bother to check the app. So what are you telling me? So I just realized that, people do that a lot. So when I see a lot of things about founders, they should have done this. I'm like, trust me, I'm sure they've tried half of what you're bringing. Only very few, and I mean maybe 1 or 2 people told me something that was incredibly new and profound in all of the people that wanted to offer advice to me. Maybe 1 or 2.
Just 1.
Yes. 1.5. Then you will say the other person is not really fully 1, but I'm appreciating that there was a half there, so I give them 1. Only 1 person truly told me like everything he said actually made sense at the time and was new, innovative. I hadn't heard of it before, and I thought, I hadn't even tried or thought about trying this. So it was the running Go My Way pivotal the entire time. 2+ years. It was just a bunch of learning experiences that really changed my perspective on how you support companies and how like innovative companies run, what they need, what they don't need. I'm still learning now, but for that moment, it was like it was packed practical learning. Yeah, which is good.
It's interesting. There are a couple of things. I'm going to recap everything you've said so far, just so our listeners can encapsulate some of the nuggets that you've dropped. There's this, I think it's Steve Jobs. He said something around, you can only connect dots backwards.
Yes. I actually wrote an article with that.
Really?
When I was done with Go My Way.
Okay.
That was the first article I wrote on LinkedIn, connecting the dots,
backwards.
Yeah,
because the first thing that came to my mind is how that experience made you better at startup support.
Yeah.
Because you're able to empathize a lot more.
Exactly.
And in a very tangible way.
Yep.
I'm also a firm believer that if you've not really built anything, there's only so much you can actually advise founders realistically. There's only so much.
Yeah.
The other thing is, back to what you said with the retreats with Ventures platform about, is it mindfulness?
Yes, mindful leadership. Yeah.
I like that a lot because one thing I realized about founders is their mental health and inner states generally tends to be underrated. They tend to flog themselves for the sake of the business.
Yes.
But taking a step to kind of breathe.
Yeah.
But also reflect about yourself, reflect about yourselves as a founding team, and see how, you can actually help your business or help your team grow. I think that's really, really matters. And, the fact that you were able to now build on everything that you've done. So every experience led you to the next and the next. I really like how, again, you can only connect the dots backwards. But the stars seem to align for you in your career.
Yeah, and I, until I got to certain points when I realized, this is all making sense. So now, I've done programs. I've actually been a software engineer. I've run a company. I'm now in VC. So it's almost like a whole, like I've done the full circle of everything. So which is really great.
I like that. Okay, so I want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about you. So you, Dami. For those who are seeing you for the first time and are just like, this person is the greatest person of all time and want to know more, what are maybe two things about you that most people don't know?
Maybe I've mentioned it now.
I mean, you can touch on it.
Well, okay, one, I used to be in a band and a choir group. So in school, in the university then, I was a chorister and I sang soprano. And I actually did like a couple of solos in Cyprus at the time. So did one in school, did another one even outside when we were invited, which was really cool. And then at the same time, I was in a sort of like a jazz pop band. It was me and like a couple of people. And I would sing some solos as well. I wanted to be a musician. I was really serious about it.
You were serious?
I actually tried when I came back, tried to hook up with some, I even did like, go to Bogobiri and all these places and try and sing on the mic, like all the open mics. But anyways, that dream died. So I think that's one, my whole music thing. The second thing would be, what a lot of people don't know, maybe, I've mentioned that I modeled. So I think it's the modeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the two things.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I remember now.
If I was to kind of double down on that point, outside of this startup world, because I know the startup world is very all-consuming, are there any other passions that you have?
At the moment?
Honestly.
No, I can't think of anything actually at the moment. I know, and my cousin was asking me the other day, it's like, are you happy doing what you're doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm happy. He said, oh, wow, a lot of people can't say that.
Can't say that.
But I am. This is what I wanted to do when I left. And I'm getting to do it now, even on like a different side to it, which is VCs and, so it's fine. I actually can't think of anything. If it was in the past, maybe I'd have still wanted to be a musician.
Fair enough.
But that ship has sailed.
Nice.
I'm settled into this.
Can you still sing though?
I haven't tried. I should be able to. Maybe I'll be like weird at some points, but I should be able to.
I don't think you forget how to sing.
I don't think so, but your voice might not be, like you might need some training.
Fair enough.
If you want to sing like professionally because you haven't done it in a while.
It's a muscle, so training.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Yeah. Okay. All right, back to the ecosystem.
Okay.
If I was to ask you, so to close your eyes and think through, are your eyes closed? And think through your ideal innovation ecosystem. What would you say it is?
Ooh, ideal innovation ecosystem. Maybe I should actually close my eyes because I thought I'll be able to answer this one. Wow. I guess not looking at any realities on ground. Yeah, because that can really get in the way.
It can.
I think it will be one where, and I'm referring to just the continent, right?
Yeah, just
it
Africa.
will be, multiple things, I think. It will be one where the universities are really connected. So you have a very good connection between academia and the private sector and what is being built. So almost like you have like an MIT situation where you have a really cool, like multiple really great universities churning out groundbreaking innovation that are actually like being commercialized. Right now, I feel like sometimes there's not that connection. Even when I was at CC Hub, that's why we did some of the university innovation hubs at the time. So I believe like if I close my eyes, it'll be a world where the universities are so good from Nigeria to anywhere. You have like really leading universities that are churning out great stuff from science to tech to whatever. Like,
interesting.
really cool. So that would be one side of it. The second side, if the institutions are good, then the quality of talent is just beautiful. It's sweet. So you have quality talent in companies. You also have quality founders coming out. Because I really feel like, I used to tell my friends is when someone says to you, if you're president for one day, which sector would you? I always say education. Because I just feel like if education is not great, there's just a lot of things that break. But if it's great, you can build, you have educated people that can maintain, right? So I always feel like that education part is really at the heart. And then obviously if you have those things and they're constantly like giving you talents, is really great founders, really great groundbreaking stuff, then the money will come as well. Because we have the population now, we have like really talented people, we have really great schools, then the money will come. On the other side, you have local and both foreign investors. Nobody will be arguing. You'll be getting money. Won't be speaking too much English, Founders will be able to see the funds that they need, both locally, even without needing to go anywhere else. And so it would even be the foreign investors fighting for like allocation within startups. I should really keep closing my eyes. And then what else? There was another thing I was thinking about. Yeah. And then African countries understanding what role they play within the innovation ecosystem. And I was telling someone, I said, I've been to multiple countries and everyone maybe is trying to do like startup ecosystem within their country. But I think that some people might be a country might be a really good place for your talent to live and work out from. Like they might have the conducive environment, the peace and everything to actually grow a really good team that is happy. Because sometimes you lose talent not because of what you're not doing, but because the environment they're in doesn't make them happy. So like I feel like with my eyes closed, a landscape where different countries know what their superpower is in contribution to the general innovation landscape, and we'll hone in on that. Are we like a test bed for new products that you want to pilot? They hone in on it. Regulation is a bit maybe lenient there to allow for more innovation to come in. Maybe you have a couple of countries like that. Then you have some countries where maybe they're like all the financial capital or whatever, so they own it. I feel like that might make more sense than everyone maybe trying to get like some startup community and founders and investors going in. So I kind of feel that way. And everyone would sort of be happy. It'd be like like Africa would be so rich, To be like Wakanda 2.0 or 3.0. Like, yeah, that's the kind of landscape and continent I imagine. And that we would also, because our talent is of good quality, you would have like really high-tech innovations. Like we are contributing to whatever is going on in AI, whatever is going on in whatever new technology comes up at the time. We're not just consuming and being at the mercy of whoever is producing, but because we are super smart and all of our investors are great, we are even leading this thing. Like we are launching stuff and people are coming in. That's what if I wanted to paint something, that's what it look like. Yeah. It's plenty.
That's amazing. No, it's so good. Because first of all, you started with education.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense. That question around if you're president for a day, what would you do? Say. I think the education piece is fantastic because you're creating a strong foundation and a good launch pad to build off. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I used to tussle between education and power.
People tussle. But I mean, if you fix power, you will need other people to come and be helping you fix it all the time. Exactly. But if you had like really smart, like continuously churning out smart people that understand power system, you won't need that. Exactly. You will be fine. Exactly. And educated people will know that we shouldn't live in a world where there's no power.
Yeah,
so you see them churning out stuff, right? So
you're right. Education is the foundation.
Yeah, for me it's
foundation.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fantastic. I think the other thing that you raised that's very interesting is the interconnectedness of Africa, from the sense of everyone has their own part to play.
Yeah.
So when you said that thing around some spaces might be better for startups to go and incubate.
Yes.
What came to my mind was Rwanda.
Yeah.
Right. Rwanda is fantastic from a regulation and environmental, even just how it looks and feels. It's fantastic for people to come build, and then scale. They
were even pushing it at some point, kind of like that is their sort of moat or something.
Yeah. It makes sense because there are not that many people.
Yeah.
So I think if we had that interconnectedness and trust, because that trust element is key, I think that would take us to a whole other level.
And where we love each other, no fights. No,
no arguments.
Not going to,
no arguments on
no
Twitter.
fights between countries. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you, Dami. I really love that picture. I'm going to hang it somewhere.
Need to join like a vision board and put it somewhere. No,
that's amazing. Okay, so thank you for walking us through your story. But we've talked about the past. Now we want to look forward.
Okay.
What would you say is next for Dami?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have the answer to that question, to be honest. I think right now I have come into this space for the last like almost 2 years, especially when it comes to my work. And I want to go deep into it, build it out. There's not many sort of platform teams or platform leaders. And I want to be able to, run a number of tests here, establish what works and doesn't work for founders, being able to also talk about it and, encourage other people as well to see this particular role, which is like the platform role or building platform teams, as important. So for now, I'm sort of rested in what I'm currently doing and, looking to like, what's next? So I guess that time will come. But now this is my main sort of focus. And then I have my son, my husband. So, you really have to make sure you're balanced at every point in time. So just enjoying that for now.
You sound happy.
Oh.
That's the word that keeps coming to my mind. This is joy.
Hey, it's good. Because it's not easy day in, day out, like the hustle. Like the good thing would just be if someone is making money somewhere and I'm chilling in some. But it's not easy. But we are grateful, right, for what we have. Sometimes we always have to look at what we have rather than consistently trying to chase what we don't have. So, yeah.
I love the perspective.
We're trying.
Thank you so much. This has been such a very clear journey. Seeing how you even stumbled into innovation.
Yeah.
I think just as we wrap up, I want to ask, what advice would you have for founders right now that are building, that are in the weeds, that are hustling, trying to raise funding? What would you advise them based on your context?
Oh, wow. One, cherish your support system, whatever that is, because as entrepreneurs, you can get lonely. And you always need someone you can bounce off with or that support system. I think 2 would be create that support within your company. By support, I just mean get a great team. Because at the end of the day, that's actually what helps you. You have to get a great team and inspire a great team. So if you haven't built a muscle around how to inspire people to join you on a journey, it's good that you build that because you can't really get too far without good team people. Folks. I would say the other thing around funding is tricky. There's limited amount of money in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
If you're not getting funding, it's not because you're not great. I think it's that sometimes maybe there are other financing methods to look at. I guess I would just say open your mind to different financing methods. Be honest with yourself on what exactly you're doing. And if it's working or it's not working. I think this is something that Dipanka of Omniretail said, that as a founder, you have to be honest with yourself on what is working and when it's not working, so that you know exactly when to stop, when to change gears, or just, maybe go back to 9 to 5 is not working. So yeah, that's what I would say. Honest with yourself, build a great team, have a great support system. You may not get funding. Look out for other like funding from the typical VC, but look at other financing methods because there's limited amount of money, and it will go to certain people for different reasons. Whether it's because they have a great product or whether there's a bias, it will go to different. And there's not much you can do about that. So build a great company. The money will come, and if it doesn't, maybe there are other financing methods you can look at. That's all. That's all.
It's been so rich. Dami, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been amazing.
For having me.
Amazing.
I heard myself.
Honestly. And thank you, everyone, for joining us and waiting until the end. I hope you learned a thing or two.
So.
And see you later.